What's up, boys and girls? Welcome back to another episode of New Stuff TV, your spot for infotainment for the average consumer. I'm your host, Antoine. I got two badass TVs sitting out there, and I just want to talk about them to you, Richardson. Today, we're going to be discussing the brand new 2026 Hisense UR9 RGB Mini-LED TV versus the last year's 2025 65-inch Hisense U8QG. Both of these TVs are 65 inches, but I do have to give you a slight disclaimer first. It's really difficult to have both of these TVs on camera at the same time because with any video that us TV reviewers do, we have to do camera tricks, behind the scenes. We have to, like me personally, I always turn each TV down to 0 brightness. And in some cases, I have to turn the peak brightness down to like medium or low or sometimes even off, just so it won't be blown out on camera, because the camera sensor versus what's happening on the TV screen, it doesn't always agree. And when you have two TVs side by side with two different technologies, sometimes you even get color variations. So there's things I gotta tweak just to make it look good to you, even though in real life, it looks great to me and everybody else. And it would even look great to you in real life, but on camera, that translates to hot garbage. And that's what you would say in the comments. So we got to do our tweaks, man. So take everything with a grain of salt as far as the visuals, because it's really difficult, man. I just wanted to throw that out there because, doing these videos is not always the easiest thing, especially when you got two of them in the same picture frame. In 2025, the Hisense U8 was one of my top picks for TVs, like where you can get the best features and best value out of a TV. In fact, we actually still use it. That's why it still has the brackets on it. I had to take it down so I could actually do this video for you guys. But this year, Hisense jumps out of the gate with what I have dubbed the most affordable RGB Mini-LED TV out there on the market right now. And you're gonna see why in just a moment. Now, if you click on the link in the description, it'll take you to Best Buy and you will find a 65-inch Hisense U8 for $1,000. That's crazy because the retail price is $2,200. Man, how you gonna yank $1,200 off of the price tag just like that for a relatively new TV? That's just wild. But this is the real insanity. The Hisense UR9 in 65 inches is selling right now for $2,000. It just came out and they have already taken it down from $3,500 to $2,000 flat at Best Buy. Click on them links, bro. But seriously though, Hisense, y'all good? I mean, seriously, I'm concerned. Like, y'all just dropping prices. Like, what the hell, man? That's crazy. Now, remember in the last video I did about the UR9, I did mention that RGB Mini-LED TVs are LCD TVs at their core. So you're gonna see a lot of commonalities between the two as we go through this. Now let's just go ahead and jump into some specky stuff. Now they're both topping out at about 5,000 nits for peak brightness, but when I went and checked for dimming zones, I was only able to find the dimming zones for the Hisense U8, and it varies per size. So the 65-inch that we're talking about today gets 2,048 dimming zones, whereas on the UR9, I couldn't find anything about dimming zones. Like, it was a whole bunch of mixed information in there. So other than give you some random information I found, I figured I'd just say nothing. I couldn't find it, all right? Now, they do give you 3 HDMI 2.1 ports on each TV with a display port on the side for easy access for like gaming and stuff like that. You want to plug something in that USB-C port. I love having that right there. And for you gamers out there, if you end up with a U8, you're gonna get up to 165 hertz refresh rate. But if you wanna level up a few notches, you go ahead and spend that extra bread, you can get yourself up to 180 hertz refresh rate. Now, this is something that really piqued my interest, man. Dolby Vision 2. The U8 does not support Dolby Vision 2. I don't even think it can, even with like a software update. I think it's a hardware thing. But the UR9 does support Dolby Vision 2. So when we can get some Dolby Vision 2 content out there, it'll be able to support it. And trust me, I can't wait to see what that actually looks like in person. So for the UR9, Hisense decided to throw in the Obsidian panel for those blackety blacks, even when you got the lights on, and to also help combat reflections. But they mitigate reflections in the U8 with an anti-reflection pro panel. Either way, to me, I feel like they both combat reflections to the same degree, but I do have to give just a slight edge to the UR9 for just a little bit extra black level, and just it feels like there's more brightness in there. And the last piece of hardware I want to bring up is their speaker setup. They're both sharing the same 4.1.2 system that is tuned by DeVuLe, which is a premium company, and both TVs sound fantastic. I do find it interesting that these TVs look damn near identical. You'd have a hard time figuring out which one is which until you start looking at the base of each TV, because they are slightly different from each other. And then the key difference is on the lower sides, you'll see this RGB branding on the side of the UR9 TV. But it's really what's on the inside that counts, because once you turn these things on, that's when you get to see the real notable differences. The UR9 is natively brighter. It is natively better at dynamic range, and it is natively better at contrast. That's what I saw pretty much immediately when I turned them on and set them on the exact same settings. I made sure that every app I looked at when I was kind of comparing them, I made sure, because you know they change every time you go to a different app, I made sure I had it on the same settings on both TVs, and man, it's just, like I said, inherently or natively brighter, better like contrast, and definitely better dynamic range. Some of this might not even translate on camera, but man, when I was looking at I was looking at a sample of that movie I said I would never watch again, Thrash. I was looking at that, and the color on one of the girls' jackets, you know, it was just more rich, you know what I mean? And then sometimes when they would show scenes where, you know, like you could see the sun going down or even coming up, you would see more gradient in, you know, the skyline where the sun changes color, you know, from yellow to amber or whatever. And then on the U8, it would be a little bit more just white to orange. You know what I mean? There's not as much gradient of colors, where you get more color range in the UR9. And then when I looked at some of the random content on YouTube, you could definitely see that dynamic range taking place in the UR9. I mean, it is flexing. You're seeing all the different colors, you know, in different scenes, where as the U8, and it's crazy because, you know, when you're looking at the U8 by itself, it's a fantastic TV. I said it's one of my tops from last year, but man, sitting next to a UR9, it's just, you know, you can just see the dynamic range difference. Oh, and the contrast. So in dark scenes where you have lots of shadows, even though the U8, it does such a great job with contrast, when you contrast it to a UR9, yes, pun intended, when you contrast it to a UR9, it almost feels like sometimes the U8 actually crushes the blacks and the shadows, and then there's some stuff you can't see that you're easily able to see with the UR9. Now, as far as handling reflections, I feel like they both perform about the same. And these are questions that you guys asked me in the last video about the UR9, like how does it compare to this, or how does it handle this? Reflections, I was telling people that it handles reflections and viewing angles pretty much on par or exactly the same as you would find in the U8. If you don't know what a U8 is like, then dude, you got to see it for yourself. And it's great either way. It's just that it's the same. Like if I look at both TVs and I'm looking at reflections like lights in my ceiling, it handles them the exact same way. When it comes to the viewing angles, side by side, if I step off to the side, they both kind of start washing out at the very same point, but it does have great viewing angles as far as I'm concerned. You could sit off to the side quite a bit before you start to experience or before it starts to take away from your experience, where you're losing saturation and color like that. To me, you can sit off to the side of this TV. Don't be going crazy, man, and sitting like 180 degrees out. But these both have great viewing angles to where you can just kind of, you know, sit off axis and enjoy your content. Now, as far as the sound profile, to me, it's exactly the same. Why? Because they're both tuned by DeVuLe and they're using the same driver setup. It's kind of like they took well, it's not even kind of like, they didn't even try to hide it, man. They took the U8 chassis, which was a premium TV from Hisense, and it was one of their best they've ever done. And they took that chassis. As a matter of fact, I think the U8 chassis was borrowed from their UX lineup. Like, it's the premium chassis that they have. And then they said, all right, let's take all this U8 stuff out of here, and we're gonna throw in our U9 stuff, put it in the same chassis, and now we're gonna have a badass TV called the UR9. That's what they did. I mean, this didn't have to be like a technical video. All you gotta do is turn these two TVs on and you can clearly see which one is better. That's just my opinion though. You can go see them for yourself if you want to. I just figured I'd tell you what I saw. Either way, man, I'm just a dude who likes watching TV, man. I just be watching stuff and then I'll be sharing my opinion with you. And it just so happens I own a 65-inch U8SG and a 65-inch UR9, and here we are. Hey, y'all gotta go because me and my wife, we supposed to go eat nachos for lunch. So I gotta get up out of here, man. I am hungry. Until I see y'all again, keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.